to these simple lessons from a third grade dropout daddy. I had a daddy quote Michelangelo. Michelangelo said on one occasion, and I think Henry Ford said it years later, but it originated with Michelangelo, who would say, boys, Daddy doesn't have a problem if you aim high and miss, but Daddy's going to have a real issue if you aim low and hits. And then I had an Oklahoma mom who would say this, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right. I want to tell you something, the best education I ever got wasn't those years at the University of Oregon. The best education I got wasn't even during those wonderful years at Chico State. The best I'm a big old wildcat. The best education I got. This is the best education I got. You didn't realize it at the time.
I think I'm about to say
the best education I got. 18 years of home training with mama, with daddy, with aunts and uncles that were wives, with grandma and grandpa, with teachers that were committed to me. I got 18 years tuition-free, room and board, training for the rest of my life. I don't want y'all to miss this opportunity. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, an opportunity missed is an opportunity lost. I don't want you to lose this opportunity. I want you to prepare yourself to reach out and to make an impact. Why? Because America needs you. Look at America. We are going to hell in a handbasket. Do y'all know something? Y'all know that we are the greatest country in the world? Do you know that? Well, I'm passing the torch to you so that we can start acting like the greatest country in America, y'all. Listen to this. Boy, I was called boy until I was like 30 years old. I thought that was my middle name. Boy, you'd rather be dead than always judging people. When you judge people, it strips them from their dignity. Don't judge people just because they're different than you. But Daddy, didn't you tell me that you have to get off the sidewalk to allow a man of another color to get off the sidewalk? Yes, son, that's called history. We live in the present. Don't judge people. Then he dropped Jonathan Swift on me. We said on one occasion, vision is the ability to see the invisible. Don't judge people. In other words, son, how can you impact somebody that you're busy judging? Don't judge. Tell me more, Daddy. Boy, yes, sir. You'd rather be an hour early than a minute late. Young folks, listen to me. Say I'm listening. That ain't good enough. You're only arrogant Catholic level. Come on, I need some excitement. Say I'm listening. Let me interrupt my own speech and tell y'all something. As a former college professor of communication, let me tell you something. 50% of what you hear, you forget just like that. Other maybe 50%, you use 38% within the next 24 hours. May I say it one more time? 50% of what you hear, gone, just like that. Of the remainder, you only retain a certain amount. Not only that, how many of you know that you're easily distracted? How many of you all have been in church listening to the sermon, but your mind is 7 miles away at the local movies or the local Golden Corral? Y'all hear what I'm saying? Robin Sharma, I'm coming back to the point. Robin Sharma, S-H-A-R-M-A. Robin Sharma said the average person in America is distracted a minimum of 2 hours a day, interrupted once every 11 minutes, then it takes 30 minutes to return back to an alpha level of thinking. What are you saying, Dr. Grigsby? We live in a culture that we really don't listen, and on top of that, young lady, how you doing? Wake up, you. That right here, the white lady right here in the middle. And the reason why is because we're so distracted by everything, right? And so that's why I tell you to listen. This is what my father said. Everybody say, I'm listening. Or you'd rather be an hour early than a minute late. I had a 9:55 start time this morning. I believe. I think that's the time. Let me check. No, 9:10 start time. 9:10. Me and my friend walked over from the hotel an hour and a half ago. Why? Because I had a dad, listen to me, y'all. I had a dad that taught me to get spotlight on the dark room. I had it. Stay with me, baby. I want to make me gross. Dr. Rick, why should I get to that early? Because you'll make an impact. You'll make an impact, not just an impression. But you know what leadership truly is, young folks, and I know you know a lot about leadership. John Maxwell said leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Your ability to influence people within the sphere of your periphery will determine whether or not you're making an impact, not what you're making an impact. And making an impact means you gotta pay a price. You can't do what everybody else does. You can't show up when you feel like showing up. You can't show up when you want to show up. Great people do things that other people don't. Great people are always asking themselves, what can I do to grow? How can I improve? How can I make sure that my team is benefiting from my contribution? Great people rarely think about themselves, rarely think about their comfort level, rarely think about their feelings or their emotions. You don't hear great people going, I don't feel like it. That's the home training you're getting at home today. Parents telling you push past your feelings. Parents telling you push past your emotions. Parents telling you do your absolute best, your gut level best to be great. And so when you show up an hour early, guess what? Your influence grows and grows and grows. Remember the words of John Maxwell. Leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. Your ability to influence people in your environment will determine whether or not you're making an impact. My father had the morning and lunch shift, breakfast and lunch shift as a cook. He had to be at work at 5 o'clock in the morning. California Maritime Academy was only 10 minutes from our house. He had to be at work at 5 in the morning. The school was only 10 minutes from our house. My mother said for 30 years my daddy left every morning at 3:45 in the morning. She said one time to her, she said, Daddy, why do you leave so early? Here's his response. Are y'all listening? Say I'm listening. Here was my daddy's response. I want my boys to wake up one day and catch me in the act of excellence. I have two thoughts. First, Aristotle. You are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be a habit, not an act. You are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be a habit, but not an act. Let me warn you, in a shallow, superficial society, like the one we're in 2015, guess what? Excellence is not a habit. It's an act. It's a one-night stand. It's something that we put on. It's something that we adorn when the rewards are high. But great people work in excellence all day long. The second thing I want to tell you is this. I'm thinking about what my mother said to my dad. Why do you go to work so early? My father's response. I want my kids to catch me in the act of excellence. Watch this. Years later, I'm in my office at Texas A&M. I'm reading Harvard Business Review, September 2004. The article is titled Deep Smarts. Here's the thesis. Lecturing, what our schools are based upon, is the worst kind of teaching method, according to Harvard. That if you want to get the intended message across, model the behavior. Young folks, I want to ask you one question. What are you modeling? Are you modeling and following the world, doing everything the world wants me to do? I'm following Bo, Joe, and Flo. I'm playing kissy in the backseat when I know better. What are you modeling? Fellas, what are you modeling? What are you modeling? Ladies, young ladies, what are you modeling? The reason why I love the FFA is because they have set a standard that a woman acts like a woman and a man acts like a man. And I want to tell you something. That didn't start when you joined the FFA. That started at mama and daddy's house. Pay attention to what you're modeling. My daddy modeled, boy, you'd rather be an hour early than a minute late. And you know what? We're talking about discipline. That's what I'm talking about. If this was a church service, I'd say it this way. For the moment, all discipline is painful rather than pleasurable, but later it yields peaceful fruits of righteousness to those that are trained right. But since this is not church, I'll just say, we're talking about discipline. That's what we're talking about.